This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
Hey, my name is Keith, and this is my Drana Kalastria Bloodchief deck. Hey everyone, this is Drana. She's my general. If you don't know what she does, she's a 5-mana 4/4 flyer, and her ability is X black. Give a creature -0/-X, and she gets +X/+0. So this is just a mono black control deck. Big black, lots of big black spells. And I like her because she gives me a threat whenever I need it. She sits in the command zone, and I only run about 8 or 9 creatures in here, so when I do have control of the game, I can pop her out and try and finish things really quick. And even if there's no other creatures on the board, I can still give her +3/-3 to make herself a 7/1, which is nice because it'll only take 3 hits to do 21 general damage. And also, I had her 3D'd by Shazam or Andrew Sight back in like 2010. So it's really cool having a 3D general. I don't know if you can see it here, but definitely recommend it getting it done. It's a lot cheaper than you would think, and gets a lot of wow factor. So, love my 3D Drana. And here's a full copy in case she gets tucked. Good old Drana. So, Cabal Coffers, this is the main land of the deck. This is probably one of the most important cards in the whole thing, actually. Since we're a big black deck, we want a lot of mana available to us. This lets us do that. So, people want to kill this, and you'll want to tutor for this a lot, but the whole deck runs around Coffers. And Deserted Temple, this just lets us untap a land, aka Coffers some more. Petrified Field, you can sack it to bring a land back from your graveyard to your hand, aka Coffers again. And Strip Mine. The only reason I run this is because I run Crucible of Worlds, and that's basically to get Coffers back again, or to deter people from wanting to target my Coffers, knowing I can get it back. But such an awesome, simple combo, there's no reason not to run Strip Mine, especially in a control deck. Thawing Glaciers, this makes sure we get a land drop every turn. This is a control deck, and it's a big mana control deck. We don't want to miss any land drops. So this is one of the cards I'll actually tutor for early game a lot of the times. And it works great with the Deserted Temple. We can bring it into play and untap it right away and use it. Thespian stage copies the land, and again, we're probably copying Coffers so we can make a whole bunch of mana. But I took Vesuva out recently. I had both of them in here at one point, but once the Legends rule changed, I took Vesuva out just because it comes into play tapped, and I mostly used it to as a clone effect, basically to kill other legendary lands. So it's gone now, and Thespian stage is on its own. Bojuka Bog. I hate lands that come into play tap, but a free graveyard removal in EDH is just too good to pass up. And Polluted Delta and Bloodstained Mire. These came in once I added Crucible, just to make it more useful. You get a fetch land, these are on the graveyard, you can get swamps whenever you need them with Crucible out. So, not a big fan of adding off-color things to EDH decks, but Crucible wasn't doing too much on its own. These make it a little better, and I kept them in ally colors at least. And Urborg, make everything a swamp, aka make Coffers even better. So, it does help your opponents here and there, but it's worth it. And basics, I'm running 28 swamps for a total of 38 lands. They all have to match. I would run snow covereds, just because extra planar lands, but I like full art, and this is Zendikar block, which Drana's from, so it just all kind of makes sense for me. So let's get all these lands out of the way. Alright, on the creatures. 38 lands in the deck altogether. So, Burnished Hart's a new addition. This is actually very, very new as of this week, but it's worked well. It drops 2 basics into play when you sack it, so it's a little scary tutoring it up and dropping it out for 3, hoping it doesn't die, but it's amazing when it works, so it's in here. And Solemn Simulacrum, aka Jens. This guy finds a land for us, puts it in play tapped, and when he dies, we draw a card. And with all the sweepers in the deck, he will die, or we can block with him and get a land, but he's great for this style deck since we can't really ramp in non-green. Crypt Ghast. This doubles all our swamps. I swapped this out for a Nikana Revenant. She's 6 mana, and her Shade ability I didn't really use. I was using her more just for mana doubling. This is 2 mana less, so he was a nice replacement. And the Extort ability, that white mana you see, it's in the reminder text. It's not part of the card's color identity, so you can run it in a monocolored deck. So when I found that out, he replaced Nikana Revenant, and he's working great. Bloodgift Demon. 5 mana for a 5/4 flyer is pretty good. And then he has the Phyrexian ability on him. So draw a card, lose life. I can't believe this guy's like 30 cents online. If he was printed 10 years ago, he'd have been like a $20 card by now. So power creep is real. And this guy's pretty awesome. Wurmcoil. Just some lifelink, death touch shenanigans here. He's a nice rattlesnake card. He gains us life. Our sweepers, we still get the other tokens from him, so that's the reason he made it in here. And Steel Halkite. This thing lets us kill artifacts and enchantments, one of Mono Black's biggest weaknesses. So it has some evasion, and we can come in and destroy problem permanents with this. Myojin Knight's Reach. I love this card. It makes all your opponents discard their hands if you remove the Divinity counter. Just be careful. Make sure that you have some way to kill the table once this happens. I've removed the Divinity counter and had somebody tuck my general after that, and well, just kind of sat there for 10 turns while I couldn't kill everybody, and they all got mad at me. So be careful, but great card. And Ulamog. I'm going to lie and say he's in here only for his Vindicate effect, killing artifacts and enchantments, but the Annihilator 4 is amazing, and I tutor this guy up a lot to finish games. He's probably won me more games than any other card, even Drana. Alright, that's it for creatures. On to Planeswalkers. So we have Liliana of the Dark Realms. She just grabs a swamp every turn. And if people aren't paying attention, you can get her ultimate off to make all your swamps add 4, which is amazing. It's as good as it sounds. And you should probably win the game if her ultimate can go off. But she dies right away normally. I took Liliana Vest out recently. There are a lot of tutors in this deck, and I liked having her as one, but there was too many times where I had 2 Lilianas at once and had to deal with which one I want to use, so she's out. Alright, so on to Sorin, my favorite Planeswalker. He has some hated abilities here. For a -3, he can make an opponent's life become 10. I know people use house rules to make change instead to lose half their life, but still, that's amazing when you start at 40. So, and I also run Wind Reflection to kill somebody outright. Then his ultimate is a Mindslaver, another hated ability in EDH, so this guy does a lot of work for us, and he's pretty badass. Alright, Karn Liberated. our new $40-$50 Planeswalker, thanks to the modern GP. Yay. Anyway, this guy lets mono black exile any type of permanent, and if there's not much going on the board, he can control the game himself, so he's a very good inclusion here. Alright, that's it for the walkers. On to sorceries, which is the bulk of the deck. Shrouded Lore lets us get back a card from the graveyard in mono black. It's a plane shifted version of a Ice Age green card. I forgot the name, it's something lore. But, so opponent chooses a card in the graveyard, and you can pay black to make him choose another card. So, most of the time you can get whatever card you want back from the graveyard for 4, 5, 6 mana. Diabolic Tutor, the classic, 2 mana, not much to say here. Find whatever you want, put it in your hand. Sign in Blood, this is a big deck, a big mana cost deck, so I need a few things to do early game. And one of the biggest issues here is actually getting over 3 mana out. Like, I'll draw an initial hand to have 3 swamps and not draw anything else, and we really can't do much else besides that once we hit 3 swamps, and we're just drawing like business cards. So this is nice to try and grab a couple lands, do something for 2 mana. Cruel Tutor, you don't see this one much, but it's a bad vampiric. You pay 2 life, you put a card on top of your library. Just another tutor for us, basically. A lot cheaper than Grim Tutor. Yawgmoth's Will. Okay, Yawgwin. When we play this late game, we should probably be able to finish the game then. Bring out a sweeper, mana doubler, and a huge creature, and just kind of control the game from there. It's a great card, not much has to be said here. It's restricted for a reason in Vintage. Read the Bones. A new edition. Took out Night's Whisper for this. Believe it or not, I've actually killed somebody with Sign in Blood, so I went with this. Instead of taking out Sign in Blood, I took out Night's Whisper. But it's nice to scry 2 beforehand. Again, it's an issue getting your initial land drops here, so this kind of helps us there. And Predator's Grasp. This is just a fun card. Usually all I'm grabbing is a Soul Ring with this, but it's nice to take problem cards out of an opponent's library if need be. Iona or Mass Land Destruction. And sometimes there's a big artifact we can grab or something with this. So this is a bit of fun. Maybe not for everyone else, but for us. And Beseech the Queen, another tutor. Honestly, with the restriction of being able to tutor something with current mana cost equal number of lands we have, I'll usually use this just to grab a coffers. So, just another tutor, and to make sure we get our coffers online. So, Sadistic Sacrament's fun. It's the Jester's Cap, the overpowered card from Ice Age for all you older players there. This lets us search for 3 cards from someone's library and remove them. Again, I'll take something like Iona or Mass Land Destruction or something black can deal with, basically. And it's nice actually drawing this late game because we can use the kicker and take 15 cards out of someone's library and kind of cripple them. So, just an all-around good utility card here. Diabolic. Just running a whole bunch of tutors. 4 mana is okay, but we take what we can get here in a singleton format. And Mutilate, the original Black Sweeper. The -1/-1 is nice, since we can kill hexproof and indestructible things with this. This will normally go off for like 5, 6, 7, so it can clear the board most of the times. Almost a damnation. Bard in Blood, again, this deals with hexproof or indestructible things. And I normally go for the older version of a card, but I have no idea what's going on in the Mirrodin Bard in Blood. If you know what's going on, let me know. But this is a vampire. A general's a vampire. Sorin's awesome, so this one made it in. And Damnation, the no-nonsense sweeper for black. Please reprint this, Wizards, because I paid $35 for one in my Nekusar deck. Ouch. Temporal Extortion, the Time Walk for black. Once people see Wound Reflection come out after somebody pays for this once and dies, you'll go and get your extra turn every time. Really good card in this deck, actually. Mind Sludge. Just a bit of controlling here. Stop powerful, aka blue-green opponents. And just get their whole hand out of the way here. This will usually get rid of the player's whole hand. So, increase in ambition, another tutor, even better from the graveyard. Let's play the black strengths here, huh? Life's Finale, 6 mana is a little rough sometimes when you think you may die next turn. But again, this is a no-nonsense sweeper. And a lot of the times I'll just decline to search for 3 cards from an opponent's graveyard. Just because the graveyard is such a huge resource in EDH. I don't want people gaining an advantage from this when I kill everything. All this Dust. This is great. This can kill any type of permanent and just leave our mana ramp and artifacts out. So, love seeing this. And another sweeper. Decree Pain, another great sweeper here. We'll turn all your dudes that we kill into cards in our hand. So at 8 mana, this is a kind of a later game sweeper, but I love seeing this, and even we can cycle it and do an infest. That's uncounterable, so it's a great card all around. And Mind Twist. Again, we just take out the problem player's hand. Make them a little weaker here. And even early game, this is great since it discards at random and we can grab lands and stuff with this. So, 2 targeted mass discard here, but it works great. So when they come across, bad late game card, but it's worth the inclusion. Sanguinate is great since we're basically the arch enemy in these games. Once the late game comes around, and people figure out that you're in control, you're going to need to gain some life again. So this can finish the game sometimes with Wound Reflection, which is nice, or just gain a whole bunch of life to try and finish up things. Wish it had better art. In Black Sun Zenith, another way to kill hexproof, shroud, indestructible creatures. And it's nice, actually, that the counter stay on the things, because a scary 7/7 becomes a 2/2, and I don't mind getting hit by that a few times. And it goes back in the library. We can tutor up again and still have, a fair amount of sweepers in the deck with this. Force March. This isn't seen much, but I like it since we can have our general out or one of our bigger creatures and still wipe the board out. So it costs 3 black and X, and you destroy all creatures with converted mana cost X or less. And Diabolic Revelation, the X mana tutor. So, good plan here is find something that draws you cards, find some mana acceleration, find a threat, maybe even another tutor again. This thing works great when you have a lot of mana to use. That is it for the sorceries. So on to our small amount of instants. Vampiric Tutor, the second best tutor in the game. And not much to be said here. Go for the throat. Sometimes you need instant speed removal when people are coming at you. And this one probably has the best drawback, just not being able to target an artifact creature. So this is the one I run here. And Hero's Downfall, no restrictions, kill anything, kill a planeswalker for 3 mana. It's pretty awesome. This took the place of Murder, which is a pretty recent card. So that's obviously much better, and I feel really bad for Murder. It never got a chance to shine. And Consume the Meek. Destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. I like this a lot because a lot of EDH decks rely on swords of mass amounts of tokens, swarms of tokens. And people will come at you, and there's so many sorceries in this deck. He can just wipe out an army and kind of screw them over and maybe finish them off the next turn. So this is really great for killing mass token armies at instant speed. Alright, so only 4 instants in the deck. On to artifacts. Soul Ring, this is a bit of ramping here. Always love seeing this. And this is not a beta, this is a Sharpie black border. Jealous. Wayfarer's Bauble, the 3-mana rampant growth. Big mana deck wants its mana early game. And the top. Everyone's favorite way to take a really long turn. No blue here, so no filtering, no draw really, and we gotta use the top. Expedition map. This lets us search out our utility lands, aka coffers normally, but just another way to tutor here. Mindstone. This helps us ramp early game, gives us something to do for the first couple of turns, and then later on we can cycle it out and draw a card. So really love this card here. We got the Greaves. Give our General haste. Give her Shroud. Get in there really quick. Unruly Sphere. I tutor for this way more than I thought I would. This is actually my #1 card I tutor for early game. That Burnished Hart's nice, but I'm kind of scared. It's a lot easier to kill a creature than an artifact early game, so I still grab this a lot, and I've been grabbing it for years to make sure I hit all my land drops early game so we can control the game later. Extra Plane of Lands, Mana Doubler. I took this out for a while just because I found I was basically paying 3 mana to sack one of my own swamps because people kill it right away, but it's back in. I mean, we need the mana doubling, and it's just so powerful it can stay in play. It's worth the risk. Oblivion Stone, kill anything, and we can pay 4 and just make our important things, Karn or Spreading Plague, stay in play for a few turns. It's a nice Rattlesnake card. It keeps people from playing things. It lets us establish our mana base a little bit. So I like playing this even early game just because it slows things down, and we're so much better late game than a lot of decks. And Crucible. Like I said earlier, this is in here just because I found my coffers is dying so much and I rely on it so much. But with the fetches and with the strip mine, this does a lot of work now. And Vidalcan Ori. This thing is amazing in this deck. So it basically says the whole deck has flash, which changes the whole way the deck plays. This is a very proactive deck normally, and this lets us be very reactive. And I can't tell you how much fun it is to tutor up a sweeper when someone's attacking you. So I love seeing this card. I don't really tutor for it much, but when it does come around, it changes the whole way the deck plays, and it's a lot of fun. Mind's Eye, again, when you are the arch enemy and you have to keep up with everyone else, it's nice to draw a card with them every turn. Gauntlet of Power, another doubler. It does double our opponent's stuff, but worth the risk. And this is another new addition. I've been wanting to run this for a long time. I barely put it in now. I just needed more lifelink stuff, and it's really cool being able to kill the board and then pay 3 mana to return this. And that next turn play it again for 5 and get the germ token back and have a 4/4 vigilance thing again. And we can just use this over and over and over and over. And even without the germ token, we can stick it on Drana and pump her up and just gain tons of life back. So this has been really good lately. Cage Sun, another doubler just for us. It's very nice. And Oubliette. I don't see this a lot. It's basically Black's Oblivion Ring. You when it comes into play, it's an enchantment. You exile a creature. So There's so many sweepers in the deck, we can destroy a lot of things, but indestructible creatures give us a problem, and this gets rid of them. So a lot of people don't even know this card exists, and it works really good. Phyrexian Arena. Of course, I'll pay a life every turn I draw 2 cards. This thing lets us keep up and overpower the game. Necropotence, very powerful card, especially when you start with 40 life. And I don't see this a lot, but it does work very well here in a mono black deck. Infernal Darkness, probably the most hated card in this deck from people I've played with. It makes all mana producing lands only produce black mana. So if they're a 3-color black deck or a non-black deck, you've got the lockdown with this card. You do have to pay a black and a life, cumulative upkeep every turn. Usually not a big deal. You drop out a big threat or Drana or something and a sweeper, and you've got the game all locked down. So a few turns and that's it. Game over. You've won. This thing is amazing. Lethal Vapors. I don't think I've ever seen anybody skip their turn to get rid of this. Normally it'll make people just wait till they draw some enchantment removal. And again, this just lets us build up our mana base and get ready for the late game to control everything. And my favorite card in the deck, Spreading Plague. For 5 mana, it says whenever a creature comes into play, destroy all the creatures that share a color with it. They can't be regenerated. So there's only 3 black creatures in the deck besides Drana, so we don't really have to worry about that ourselves. People can't play the general or play creatures that share color with their general with this out, and it slows things down so much, and again just lets us establish all our mana and control the end of the game. So I love playing this. People don't know what to do when this comes out. Alright, our last card on the deck, Wound Reflection. This combos nicely with Sorin to make somebody lose most of their life or half their life and kill them at the end of the turn. It's kind of a desperate measure when like the mono green ramp deck is going off and about to win. The mono black deck can just take care of business and take that player out. So even with drawn out, we can do 7-10 damage a turn and double it to 20 and finish up people right away. So that is it. That is my Drana NBC Big Black deck. Basically, we're a controlled deck. We want to wait till late game to control the game, discard people's hands, sweep the board over and over and over, and get a nice creature out to finish things up. Early game, we don't do much. You just want to make sure you don't seem like a threat, if you can, and just kind of hang out and be political and tell people how much you love them. But it's a lot of fun. It's a very strong control deck, and mono black control is a very popular format, very popular style of deck, I should say. People are always trying to do it in standard, but it's usually not possible. But we can do it in EDH, and it's loved for a reason. It works, and I really don't find anything much better, much more fun than just mono black control, just discarding, killing everything, and not worrying about anything. But anyway, I've been tinkering this for 3-4 years now. Pretty happy with it now. It works. It wins a lot of multiplayer games, and I hope you enjoy this deck tech. Thanks for watching CMDR Decks. Please subscribe and favorite.